Welcome back, Cheeseheads, to another episode of BAM GPG. So, Bryson, today we're going to do a kind of a quick recap of the Packers week, and then we're going to do a quick pick'em of the remaining games for Sunday as well as Monday for everyone here. So, Bryson, just a quick recap. So the Packers, they've started off hot this year. They're 2-0, coming off back-to-back wins against the Lions in week 1 and the Commanders in week 2. So the win over the Commanders, Jordan Love looked great. He was, I believe he had 292 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft, kudos to him. He had his, to this point, a career game with 124 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. So, quick injury update and some of the roster moves in Green Bay here. So, as we saw in week 2, Jaden Reed did go down with that injury. It is a collarbone, so expect him to miss some significant amount of time. I would consider it. I'm looking at maybe mid to late November when we could possibly see him back out on the field. So, fingers crossed earlier rather than later. And then Brenton Cox Jr., defensive end for the Packers. He was placed on the injured reserve after his growing injury in week 1 against the Lions. So what that means is we're not going to see him until at least week 7 or later, depending on the progress of his rehab, I guess, to that growing, right? So, and then the team did elevate Brant Banks, offensive lineman, and Micah Robinson, cornerback from the Packers practice squads to fill those gaps left on with the 2 injured players there. So with that being said, Bryson, I wanted to go ahead and get in. We'll share the screen out here and we will go through our picks for the remaining games this weekend going into Monday night. So let me get that shared out for everyone here. And we're going to start here first with the Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens, Bryson. I think this is probably a no-brainer. I'm assuming you're on board with the Ravens here.
Yeah, I am.
11.5-point favorites there, going against Cleveland. That's a pretty big number for an NFL game, by the way. You don't see that very often. And then the second game on the slate here, Bryson, is the Jacksonville Jaguars and Cincinnati Bengals. This one here has the Bengals as... What's that?
I think we can both agree on this one.
I think that I'm taking the Bengals here as well. And then an interesting one here, you got the Cowboys versus the Giants. Giants didn't look great in week 1 when they played the Commanders, but, you know, I was mildly surprised by the Cowboys' performance against the Eagles. I think they still got a pretty decent team. I like their chances here against the Giants. They are 6.5-point favorites. Going with the Cowboys on this one. And then an NFC matchup or NFC North matchup here, Bryson. You got the Bears versus the Detroit Lions. The Lions are a 5.5-point favorite in this game. Who are you taking?
The Lions.
Absolutely. And then an interesting one here. You got the Patriots versus another in-division rival. Patriots versus the Dolphins here in week 2. The Dolphins, I'm a little surprised by this one. They are the home team, but they are favored by 1.5 here. Dolphins looked absolutely terrible week 1. They did have a players only meeting, and after the week 1 game, nothing good ever comes out of those. You hear about these all players meetings, and it's usually when things aren't going right. Right. And you never really see, when you do hear about them, you never really see a team really rebound after these meetings. It just spells trouble. I don't like the Dolphins this year, and that just kind of adds fuel to the fire for that Dolphins team this season. I'm going to go with the Patriots on the road here, Bryson.
I would go with the Dolphins because I think it's just week 1.
I don't know. I don't like the fact that they have an all players meeting. I'm gonna take the Patriots here for this one. I'll kick the next one to you. But you have the San Francisco 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints. The Niners are 1-0. The Saints are 0-1. The Niners are favored by 4.5 in this game here.
Hot take here, the Saints.
The Saints over the Niners, upset. Saints look terrible in week 1, but Bryson has them bouncing back in week 2 against the San Francisco 49ers. And then you have the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills here. The Bills are 6.5-point favorites in this game. This one is an interesting one to me as well, because I don't think the Bills defense is all that great. I think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball on them a little bit. And
I mean, their offense is amazing.
It is, yeah, their offense is fantastic. This is a tough one here for me. Who do you have in this game here, Bryson?
The Bills.
The Bills. So we're going with the Bills here. And then you have the Seahawks versus Steelers here. This is a DK Metcalf revenge game if there ever was going to be one for him. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one at home. They are 2.5-point favorites against the Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers coming off a 4-touchdown week 1 performance. And then you have the LA Rams versus Tennessee Titans. Rams are 5.5-point favorites in this one.
Yeah.
Easy one. Titans aren't there yet. Cam Ward looked a little promising. If he can just get his receivers to catch the ball, I think they'll be halfway all right? So, and then the next one here is the Carolina Panthers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Bryce Young didn't look great in week 1. Looks like he maybe regressed a little bit, but that could just be the week 1 jitters. However, the Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites in this game.
Yeah.
Who are you taking here, Bryson?
This is a good one. This is a tough one.
It's the battle of the short quarterbacks, really. You got Kyler Murray and Bryce Young here.
I'm gonna punt this one to you.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals at home. I like them at home, 6.5-point favorites. And then you have the Denver Broncos taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Broncos are on the road, but they are 2.5-point favorites here. I don't like the Colts offense. I'm going to go with the Broncos here. I think their defense is just too good. I don't think Indianapolis is going to be able to move the ball on them at all this game. I'm going to go with the Broncos here. And then a Super Bowl rematch. So this is a big one. This is a late Sunday afternoon game. It is a 3:25 Central kickoff. Philadelphia Eagles 1-0 taking on the 0-1 Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles are 1.5 favorites here against the Chiefs, Bryson. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
The Eagles. I agree. Especially I think the Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy is going to be out this game. Travis Kelce, he's still a good tight end. He's going to be a productive tight end. He's not the same tight end he was 2 or 3 years ago. I like the Eagles here. I think they're just too much for Kansas City at this point. And then the next game, Bryson, the Atlanta Falcons 7:20 kickoff against the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are a 4.5-point favorite here. So you have 2 young quarterbacks here, Bryson Penix Jr. and McCarthy going head to head.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with another hot take, the Falcons.
The Falcons. I don't disagree. You know, Minnesota, they didn't look great against the Chicago Bears. I know McCarthy got NFC Player of the Week, was not deserving of it at all. His stats weren't great in the game. They did lead a comeback, but it is against the Chicago Bears. You got to factor that in, right?
Chicago Bears always.
So I think this is going to be a tough one for him. I do like the Falcons here. I think Penix Jr. is the better quarterback than McCarthy. I'm going to go with the Falcons here as well. And then you have the Texans Monday night. So there's 2 Monday night games this week, Bryson. You have the Texans versus the Buccaneers. Who are you taking this one?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
Texans are 2.5-point favorites. The Texans have a good defense, but that Tampa Bay offense is nothing to overlook either. Baker Mayfield, he's a great quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game.
So we're going with the Texans here.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think it'll be a good game.
To me, that's an upset. The Texans over the Bucks. I would probably kind of favor the Bucks here, but who knows? We're going to roll with the Texans here. And then you have the Chargers at the Raiders. So the Chargers are 3.5-point favorites here at the Vegas Raiders. I personally, Bryson, I like the Chargers in this one. I think Vegas is getting better. I think Pete Carroll's going to be able to turn that franchise around a little bit. I do like Pete Carroll as a coach. However, the Chargers are a better team. The Chargers are going to win this game. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. So there you have it. There's our remainder of the week 2 picks. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know if you disagree, agree, what you think the outcomes of the games will be. And we'll be back with more probably on Monday. We'll start digging into that matchup for the Packers as they prepare to take on the Cleveland Browns next Sunday in Cleveland. So as always, Bryson.
Let's go, Pat, go.